Oh my god.
Programmet presenteras av betsafe.com.
Now when I was a little boy, at the age of 5, I had something in my pocket, keeps a lot of folks alive.
And we are live. So when do you think Brazilian will, what do you call it, bury the hatch and want to be a family again? No gi and with a gi.
That's a good question. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. There's a large percentage of the hierarchy of the Brazilian jiu-jitsu community. They're just not into me. They don't like me. They hate everything about me. So
you actually sang about it in your song, right?
I didn't sing about.
What do you mean? They hate you or they hate your system?
Both.
They hate you because you brought the system?
Yeah. Because, you know, they're saying that the Brazilian jiu-jitsu community generally thinks that to get good at MMA jiu-jitsu, you need a gi. Like anybody wants to do MMA. If you want to do the gi and train in the gi, that's fine. The gi will make you better. Yeah. But if you're going to do MMA, the gi is not going to help you. It's going to hurt you, you know, overall. It's because you're going to end up relying too much on the collars and sleeves, and it's going to come back to bite you in the ass. Naturally, playing gi jiu-jitsu is way better than no jiu-jitsu for MMA. You take a guy that's been training 20 years in the gi, he does MMA, he's going to be better than a guy that's never done jiu-jitsu at all, for sure. But training a clinching style and always training with punches in mind, that's going to prepare you better for MMA than the gi. And right now, most people believe that training in the gi is going to help your jiu-jitsu and MMA. But then you hear guys like, you know, and I've been saying this the whole time, the gi is not necessary if you want to train no gi or MMA. It's not necessary. They want you to believe that it's necessary because they're making money off it. Hell yeah, that's what they're good at. They're really good at the gi.
By selling gis?
So they're by selling gis and teaching with the gi.
That's a product. To teach
you know, yeah,
to the gi, and you get lots of you can do with gi, but not without the gi. So that's why, right?
Yeah, basically. But I've been saying that forever, and now Roger Gracie recently said 80% of Brazilian jiu-jitsu is useless for MMA. He said it now, so everyone's just got to shut up about me. He's saying it, and then last week Hickson said 70% is useless.
So why not work together?
That's what I wanted this whole time.
So you tried?
Tried what?
Like
it's like, hey man, I want jiu-jitsu to look good in MMA. Let's drop the whole Japanese superhero outfit. Why are we wearing this Japanese outfit again? Let's drop it. Let's work on bringing jiu-jitsu back in MMA. That's what I'm trying to do. And I would love more help. The more help, the better. I would love it if all these Brazilians started coming out playing rubber guard and getting good at the twister and all that stuff, and getting good at deep hook transitions, the spider web, and all that. But it's not happening, you know. So it's fine. I'll do it on my own.
What did they answer, or what was the answer?
The rubber guard doesn't work. It'll fuck up your knees. You can get hurt, but you could, you know, basketball will fuck up your knees. You know, football will fuck up your knees. It doesn't work. You'll fuck up your knees. It's not going to work at a high level. That kind of stuff. Okay. But, you know, Vinny Magalhaes won the finals of the Abu Dhabi. He got the gold medal, and in the final, the points he got was sweeps off rubber guard. So that worked at a high level, and it worked against Fabricio Verdum, who's one of the best.
Yeah.
I mean, why do you think there's so much hate between gi and no gi, and like?
Because I'm saying
other
that
martial arts. I mean, there's not the same hate in
politics, money, power, ego,
kickboxing and Thai boxing. I mean, they don't hate each other in that.
I mean, in Holland they were shooting each other.
Terms.
In Holland, the Thai boxing gym was shooting each other.
Okay, then
Brazilian jiu-jitsu exploded because of Royce. Royce came in with the gi. The gi became part of jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu became part of MMA and the UFC. So right away, because Royce came out with the gi, everyone's thinking, man, I got to put on a gi too. Royce is killing everybody. So that got the gi rolling. And even if he didn't come in with the gi, jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, Gracie jiu-jitsu got big. So the only place to go learn that stuff, they made you wear gis. So you had to wear it. So they use Royce as an example. Look, he trains in the gi so much. That's all he trains. He doesn't need no gi. He fights in the gi. That's what you need. That's how that's how you get good at MMA. Do what Royce is doing,
Do you think the Brazilian people got to be more open-minded to accept stuff like that?
They need to be more open-minded. Not all I'm not talking about all Brazilians. I love there's a lot of Brazilians that I love. I love a lot of Brazilians. But
that's why I did.
But in the Brazilian jiu-jitsu community, people high up, there's a lot of black belts that can't stand me.
You're fucking with a business. That's why.
Yeah, that's basically it. Because they want, it's good business. It's good business if the gi really is crucial for MMA. Because MMA is so big. The UFC is so big. That's critical that the people believe that the gi is necessary if you want to do MMA. That's critical for them. If it was scientifically proven that the gi was totally unnecessary and held you back, that would crush them. They're fighting for their families and their survival. I'm just telling the truth. I'm sorry if you don't want to, you don't think that you could evolve and move with, go with it instead of go against it.
That's the thing.
Go with it, man.
The sport evolves. Why don't they evolve?
You know what? They capitalized on traditional martial arts not evolving. When Gracie Jiu-Jitsu came out, they capitalized on karate and kung fu and boxing not evolving to a complete sport, and it seemed like they stopped evolving.
Doing the same thing, Ashin.
Yeah, it's the exact same thing.
Traditional
gi Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is becoming just that, traditional. Too much tradition and not enough evolving.
What is a MMA fighter for you?
What is an MMA fighter for me?
I mean, what kind of skills do they have to be a full-ended MMA fighter?
The days of the one-dimensional fighter, they're gone. You can't just be one-dimensional. We know that. They're a dying breed. It's becoming the norm to be three-dimensional. Like good striking, good wrestling, and, good jiu-jitsu. But the future, I think, is four-dimensional fighters. Not only do you have to be good at striking, wrestling, and jiu-jitsu, but you have to be really good and constantly try to improve in the striking, add new combinations, add power to certain strikes, always study other fighters. Look, your trainer should be studying to get new shit too. If your kickboxing trainer isn't studying to look at new shit and to try new training results and steal from other camps, he ain't trying. Same thing with the wrestling. If your wrestling coach there's a lot of wrestling that hasn't been figured out yet. Wrestling against the cage is new, so there's a lot of evolution right there that's going to happen over there's going to be DVDs out, lots of them, where all these takedowns off the cage. Because right now all the takedown experts are not experts at takedowns off the cage. Still a lot of room for improvement there. If your wrestling coach isn't constantly trying to break down takedowns from the cage, he knows all the takedowns from the cage already? He already knows them? Nobody knows them. Hasn't been around that long. Your wrestling coach he should be studying and experimenting with takedowns off the cage, as well as continue to work on the stuff that is already, you got your fighters. They might be good at a double leg, but are they super good at singles? Well, work on that single, work on that high crotch, work on study wrestling and all the combinations, and then, and then you study the transitions. Everybody should be studying the footwork and the combinations that Georges St. Pierre pulls off in his fights. He's got so many takedowns in the UFC. You could watch them all and slow them down and study what he's doing. It's a jab and then a feint and then a shoot.
Setting up
all that. If you don't have somebody in your fight camp studying GSP, you got to study him. Study what he's doing. And for those takedowns, he has the best takedowns in MMA. He's doing something, and it's all on video.
He's no wrestler.
Yeah. So, and then same thing with jiu-jitsu. You should always work to see what works, no gi, study it, always remain a student. And, if your jiu-jitsu coach isn't studying, if you're in MMA and you're the guy in charge of your jiu-jitsu isn't showing you no gi specific shit for when there's punches involved, if there's no clinching involved, if your jiu-jitsu coach isn't teaching you some sort of clinching style, clinching game, and jiu-jitsu that's you're clinching and you're setting up submissions and sweeps at the same time, I mean, there's probably a reason why people aren't talking about your jiu-jitsu like it's amazing.
We gotta cut to commercial again.
Okay.
Now when I was a little boy, at the age of 5, I had something in my bucket, keeps a lot of folks alive.
Programmet presenteras av Betsay.com.